You have made it. You are the ones that filled out the little thing that I sent you and said you want to be part of this 12-week call, and I promised you I would send you a video. I'm excited about this. This 12-week program really determines what's inside of you. It determines if you have a why big enough to match your goals, or if we need to find out and discover what your dreams and desires are. I have a great track record of pulling things out of people, getting them to fight for something bigger than they are. And it's been my honor for some of the people I've coached and helped. And I am honored, deeply honored, that I get to do the same with you over the next 12 weeks. The call that we did, I was a bit dry, and I was on purpose because I wanted some people to quit. I shouldn't say quit. I wanted some people to not join because I want this to be a small, intimate group. But understand this call is going to be much more than just numbers. Yes, we are going to hit on numbers. But with that, I'm going to always remind you of the greatness inside of you. I'm going to remind you that you were meant to do something great, that you were meant to live in abundance. You were meant for great things. And I will remind you of that. I've studied some incredible people from, David Goggins to Inky Johnson to Chris Gardner. I've actually met Chris Gardner. I think his name, Nick Uchiga. I can't say his last name. He's born with no arms, no legs, and still managed to survive. I love stories like that because it gets rid of all the excuses that so many people have. Les Brown, I've actually met him a couple of times. He was actually told he was mentally retarded, and he's gone on to be one of the greatest influential leadership speakers that's out there. I love, love, love reading books about rock and roll stars back in the 80s and 90s because these guys did things that most people wouldn't. In fact, a little backstory, we actually named our old company the Roberts Rockstars. We were officially called Roberts Alliance, and that's how we were bought and purchased. But we nicknamed ourselves the Roberts Rockstars, and here's why. Everybody wants to be a rock star until you realize what they have to do. It's not easy. So I love reading books. I'm not a big Motley Crue fan, but I loved their story. It inspired me to say if they can do what they did and sell out arenas and go from nothing. You've heard me tell you the Guns N' Roses story, the Anthony Kiedis Red Hot Chili Peppers story, the Beatles story. There's so many just fascinating stories. Inky Johnson is one that's always touched my heart. It's meant the world to me because he looked that doctor in the eye and said, "Doctor, with all due respect, I've been living this dream since I was 7 years old. I appreciate your medical degrees. I appreciate everything you have on the wall. With all due respect, though, you don't know my dream. You don't know my why." And over the next 12 weeks, that's really what I want to get out of you. Yes, we're going to go over numbers. Yes, there's going to be weeks where you feel like you could have done more. And that's what I want. I always want you to desire, could I have done more? Whenever I finish a marathon or a half marathon, I look back and say, could I have done more? In fact, I ran one yesterday and I could not have done more. I gave it everything I had, but there's many that I've walked away saying I left too much on the table. I could have given more. And we don't want that in life. We absolutely don't want that in life. So thank you for letting me walk this 12 weeks with you. And thank you for signing up, even though I was making this call very boring. And for the most part, it's going to be a little boring. But if you could, just fill out your goals, send them to me. You'll see in the email that I'm sending you. And let's have some fun. Let's get serious. Let's get consistent. Let's bring consistency in your life like you never have before. Let's measure those. And I will do that every week. This will be the first time that you've actually had to send me your goals because this is the first kickoff. Next week, when we're done with numbers, I'll say, okay, Noel, what are your goals for next week? Okay, Brandon, what are your goals for next week? So on and so forth. So I look forward to spending every Tuesday with you at 10 a.m. Understand this, that I will read a lot more books between each week and understand more and more about what drives human behavior, from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Dear Lord, read that book. You will start hitting all your goals when you realize what he went through and what he accomplished. So again, this is going to be an incredible 12 weeks that I believe will change you. And I just want to thank you for letting me walk with you.